Crypto.XL. Hey guys, I'm not going to be too long here. I'm just going to do a quick market update on what I see going on. It has come to my attention that the long-term holders are accumulating Bitcoin on a long-term holders chart, which means that there is a future potential for Bitcoin long-term that we're going to be forming a really good base. That also leads me to believe that the next capitulation we have, that would be a good time to start accumulating the desired coins that we're looking at. I'm anticipating another um, leg down and a huge buffer zone around 60K, right? So we don't have to go down to 60K, but I think it's more likely than not that we do get a second chance at going back to that honeypot right down around there. Um, there's always a potential to us breaking below 60K, right? But because the long-term holders are accumulating, it makes it less likely. So as time continues, if we don't get a capitulation event within June, July, I'm going to start. I'm going to start thinking that we're not going to see 40K, right? Because we're going to be running out of time if this doesn't happen around that time range. I am anticipating another leg down, as I said before. But right now, we're hovering. All right, so the range that we're talking about is between 60 and 80K. That seems to be the range for this bear market until it changes, right? Until something changes. So, which means that as we head down towards 60K, that would be a good time to accumulate. As we go up towards 80K, it's a good time to deleverage and lower some of the risk. So, if you are able to hold long term, then you hold long term. But accumulating when we start coming down, I think is a good idea. If you have no crypto at all, and you start heading down, I would look at this as a buying opportunity and time to pick up the strong altcoins, right? Time to pick up the market leaders, Aster, Tau, Sui, Solana. Solana has a very, very good future, and I'm looking at the capitulation wick for Solana when it happens as a great time to pick up some Solana because I think getting a 10x on Solana is possible if we play all our cards right. Like we get a capitulation wick coming down from some event, whatever it is. Maybe the Fed chair says or does something that's not expected, or we have another virus, or there's something that no one's expecting. Maybe unemployment peaks or something like that, and then we get a capitulation wick, and we get Solana going down to $60, and God forbid, $45. So on that wick will be a great time to accumulate some Solana and then hold it for the next 2 years, heading into the bull market of 2027. So that's my stance to the market. I don't think much has changed. The only thing that's changed is that um, noting that there are some whales that are accumulating in the background. And because of the whales accumulating in the background, I think it limits her downside. So I still do anticipate having a downside. I still do an accumulation event. But I'm looking at this as accumulating near the 60,000s and just holding for 2 years after that because it's going to take a while for the market to rebound and for confidence and liquidity to come back in. So despite the long-term holders accumulating Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin's price is still subject to the ETF inflows, outflows. It's still subject to the retail buying and selling. It's still subject to the liquidity cycle. So while this is going on in the background, we're just going to make note that it's probably going to limit our downside, right? But the plan is still what the plan is. It has not changed. We're still adhering to the 4 year cycle. We're still following the charts, and we're still going to be accumulating on these wicks and then being patient to hold. And that's actually the hard part, right? Holding during all of this turmoil for the next year and a half, 2 years, what have you. That's going to be an interesting thing. I do think, though, that the United States, as also the rest of the world, is in a tough position where they're going to have to increase the money supply. And as they increase the money supply to get out of the disaster that's coming. As they increase this money supply, it's going to make prices on everything go up, right? So this year, I don't think we've gone through the worst of this year. I think there's going to be like a lot of unemployment and recession fears and these kind of things. And when that happens, that's when they're going to increase the money supply even more, right? We're seeing that the Strait of Hormuz said there's a limit on the amount of oil, and it takes a couple of months for this lack of supply to completely go through the system and for it to affect the markets the way that it really will affect the markets. And then after it starts doing that, they print money to take care or to mitigate the damages. And once they start printing the money, so basically we have a flash crash, right? Like kind of like how we did in COVID. We have a flash crash, and then the market capitulates and prices go a lot lower than we expect. And having cash at that moment, I think, would be paramount to having a very good cycle, a really good Bitcoin crypto cycle, and getting the epic buys at the best prices. So buying up at that moment and then holding for another 2 years, and then all of a sudden they start increasing the money supply by a lot. And then you just hold, but you've already accumulated your position. So at that point, you just chill and you just relax and you start DCing out of the market because we don't know how high it will go in 2027, right? We don't know the exact point. You could say that we could pretty much follow the chart pattern, right? But where you buy is the most important. The most important position or the most important point is where you buy. The second most important strategy is where you sell, right? So we're not going to time it exactly, but we're going to get around the range. So as we come down towards the 200-week moving average, which will be higher in a few months, right? I mentioned like 60K, somewhere around there, which we've already touched, right? I'm expecting it to come around that range at some point and accumulate at that point. Now, if we buy at 60K and then October comes and we're at 40K, well, it's a good thing that we're not going to be highly leveraged, right? Because you don't if you're highly leveraged at 60K, but it eventually drops to 40K in October, you could still get liquidated. So this is why you have to be very careful of your leverage. Okay, might not might not just make sure you don't get liquidated. I'll put it that way. I would say it might not be a good idea to play with leverage in this market, right? If you bought spot and you bought it at, if you buy at 60K when we get there, should we get there? I don't know for sure, right? But if you buy at 60K spot and then you fall to 40K, you just buy a little, you buy more at 40K. You go all in at 40K, and then you chill and you wait for 2 years. When I say all in, I don't mean Bitcoin, right? You going in on Solana and um, Aster and Ondo and these kind of coins at that point, and then you just wait for 2 years, and there's a very good chance, very good chance that you make money. Okay, but what I'm going to say is nothing I'm saying is financial advice. It's just my opinion on the market. This is just for learning and educational purposes. If you need a financial advisor, please find one. But that's my take on the market. Nothing's really changed. Still watching Bitcoin dominance, still watching ETH dominance. I'm waiting for everything to flip. And I'm actually waiting for the capitulation event to start edging in. By the way, I want to say hello to Tay. You got to forgive me, man. I'm on the road, man. I can't really watch too much what I'm doing. Nazar, what's going on? All right. Yeah. Shut out. I see that you're rushing. Shut out to you, man. I hope everything is cool, right? Yeah, so that's what we're up to right now. Yeah. Hey, Real, what's going on, man? What's up with you? Yeah, so that's where we are in the market, man. We're just patiently waiting for a track to explode on, but everything is good, right? Everything is good. We know what we're doing. We're chilling out. The market's coming to us. We're not running to the market. We're not chasing green candles, right? We're waiting for the red candles, and then we're gonna put some of our chips in on the red candles, and we're gonna slowly ride this baby up. But that's what I got for you today. Do check me out on Patreon and check me out on Twitter. I give market updates. It's a little bit quicker there. and I will keep you guys updated on this Bitcoin dominance and this or dominance in the market, right? All right, take care, guys. You have a good one. Crypto.XL.